Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can leverage your Bitcoin with crypto-backed loans. And let me start by saying this is not financial advice. Obviously anything to do with kind of crypto has an element of risk, particularly when you're passing control of your kind of keys to a third party. And although this is a good way of maximizing potential upside and a rise in the price of Bitcoin, it's also obviously compounding any kind of losses if the price of Bitcoin kind of falls. But let's start by talking about why potentially you would want to do it. And when I'm talking about leveraging your Bitcoin, I'm talking about being able to use your Bitcoin in order to kind of purchase more, so therefore maximizing your exposure. So for example, if you had one Bitcoin, with most Bitcoin backed loans, and we've got here Ledn as an example, but you could use Celsius or BlockFi or crypto.com, a multitude of other providers. Normally there is a minimum loan to value, which will be about 50%. So for the sake of argument, let's say one Bitcoin is worth $10,000. Now what you can do is take your Bitcoin, you can put that up as collateral and borrow 50% of the value. So in this case, you could borrow $5,000 worth of stable coins or US dollars. You could then go away and buy, with that $5,000, half a Bitcoin. You could then put that up as collateral and borrow half of, or 50% of the amount of that, which would be $2,500. You could then go away and buy a quarter of a Bitcoin, and then you could put that up as collateral. And by doing this, we can get towards kind of doubling. We never get towards, never get completely doubling your amount of Bitcoin because of transaction fees, because of purchasing fees and transfer fees and stuff like that. But we can get towards that, and we'd probably do it 3 or 4 times before it doesn't make any sense to do it any further. Now, what we'll be doing in this example today is using B2X, which is basically what we've just described, but all done within a couple of button pushes. So what Ledn allow you to do, and I think they're the only people in the industry at the moment offering this particular function, is you can put one Bitcoin in and you can just double the amount. So you can put 2 Bitcoins in, double it to 4, you can put 10, double it to 20. But basically it takes away all the getting 50%, going away, getting some Bitcoin, redepositing it as collateral, etc, etc. So using literally 2 or 3 clicks, you can put 1 Bitcoin in this example. You can then take out a B2X loan. So what would happen is that 1 Bitcoin gets locked up in your crypto wallet that's used as collateral. Ledn will then give you a loan for the total amount of that Bitcoin, which in this case would be $10,000, in order to purchase an additional Bitcoin on your behalf. And then both of those Bitcoins will be held in this kind of crypto lending account. Now you can learn more about Ledn's B2X on their website, ledn.io. Now I do have an affiliate link in the description below, and probably in the pinned comment below. If you use my referral link, I think you get an extra $50 worth of Bitcoin if you take out a loan through the Ledn platform. But there's a full information about how it kind of works here. So basically amplifying your Bitcoin, instant execution, flexible time horizon. It's a pretty decent kind of product. It's easy to use. We can see here, if you put 1 Bitcoin in, they would give you or they would purchase on your behalf 1 Bitcoin, and you'd have a final balance of 2 Bitcoins. And the reason why people would be interested in doing this, if you imagine that you bought Bitcoin at $10,000 and you think potentially during the next bull run it's going to go to $100,000, for example, you'd have made $90,000 profit. But doing this, what you would have done is increase your exposure to 2 Bitcoins. So then instead of making $90,000 profit, you would have made $180,000 worth of profit, because fundamentally you've locked in the Bitcoin that you've kind of like borrowed against at today's price, in the expectation that it will go up in the future. Now obviously if the price of Bitcoin dropped to $5,000, you would still have to pay back that loan at $10,000 kind of price. So if the price is going down, obviously this could work out very badly for you. But if you are bullish about the crypto markets, if you think we're entering or about to kind of enter a bull market, this is a way where you can leverage the amount of Bitcoin without having to actually find that money kind of upfront. And what you will pay is 1% a month in interest, and there's a 2% administration fee. Now what we'll do now is jump in, and I will log into the platform, and I will show you exactly how we do it. So we're going to do a test B2X loan, and then right at the end I will come back and we'll have another little talk, and I'll explain when and if I'm going to kind of exit from the kind of loan and pay it off. So let's jump straight in and show you how the process works. So I'm just going to step you through the actual process. It should only take about a minute or so. It's a very quick kind of process, but I'm just going to log into the account. So if you don't have an account with Ledn.io yet, there is an affiliate link in the description below. If you use that, I think you get $50 worth of free Bitcoin when you take out a loan. We're just going to sign into the account quickly, obviously with our two-factor authentication, which you should definitely set up whenever you use any of these kind of platforms. And then once we get into our dashboard, you first need to deposit some Bitcoin into your Bitcoin savings. We can then utilize the B2X function. So we just click on the button here, double your Bitcoin. And you can see here we have an available balance. So you can basically double your entire available balance. What we're going to do is put 0.5. So we're going to put half a Bitcoin in. Ledn will then lend us money, $5,824.99 in order to buy an additional half Bitcoin. And then we will have one Bitcoin sat in this loan account then. And then the plan behind this obviously is that once the price of Bitcoin goes up, we will pay off our loan and we'll have an increased amount of Bitcoin because we're tying in the price now. So we just go to this, we scroll down and just click place B2X order, check the checkbox, click the checkbox, accept and continue. And then once again we have to jump in and do our two-factor authentication. So I'll just do that now quickly and then confirm the transaction. So our order is now complete. You can see a pretty straightforward thing to do, but that's really it. We click close, and then if we go back to our dashboard, so you can see now in the dashboard we have just 1.5 Bitcoin available. Now if we jump into the Bitcoin savings, you can see here the last transaction, which was 0.5 Bitcoin, which we've transferred to B2X. Now it isn't showing up at the moment in our B2X account in the dashboard here. You can see it doesn't show up immediately, but I presume they have to go out and actually buy the other half Bitcoin, and then that should show up a little bit later today. So I will pause the video now, and then once that's shown up, I'll just record and show you that. Okay, so here we are, probably 3 or 4 minutes later. It's now showing up in my B2X loan account. So we now have one Bitcoin here, the half a Bitcoin which was removed from our savings. So when we started, we had just over 2 Bitcoin in savings. Now we've got half of that moved in here, and the other half that's been purchased on our behalf from Ledn. And we have a balance now, an outstanding balance of $5,941.49. So it was literally a pretty straightforward situation. If you haven't deposited before, you literally go to BTC savings, click the deposit button. It will give you your address that you have to deposit to. Once you've done that, you can go back to the dashboard and you can literally just click the double your BTC button. So like we did before, you put in how much you want, so it could be the maximum amount or a smaller amount than that. Go through the steps that we showed you before, and then a few minutes later it will show up in your B2X loan account now. So now we've seen how the system works, I just want to talk about how I'm going to exit the loan, what my plans are at this stage. And in my case, it's pretty easy. I'm just going to wait for the price of Bitcoin to double from where I actually purchased. So we purchased half a Bitcoin is around $11,500. So once the price goes up to $23,000, what I will do is pay off the loan using some of that Bitcoin. But instead of paying it off with half a Bitcoin, I'll only have to use 0.25, so a quarter of a Bitcoin to pay it off, thereby leaving me basically with a quarter of a Bitcoin in profit. Now that won't be complete profit, because obviously we will be paying a monthly interest, and we have paid an administration fee 2% in order to participate in the loan. But that's my plan. Obviously, if you're happy to wait for the Bitcoin price to go higher, then the amount of Bitcoin you will be using to pay it off would decrease over time. So if Bitcoin quadrupled in price before we paid off, we'd be just using an eighth of a Bitcoin to pay it off and getting even more in profits. Now, what I want to talk also briefly is about the risks. Now, if we go to this page, which is the B2X page on Ledn, if you scroll to the bottom of the page under the calculator, there are basically a question and answer thing. So it's got what is B2X, who would use it, how does it work, but there's also a section about the risks, and this is something that you should be kind of aware of. So if you take out one of these loans, particularly if you take it out with your entire Bitcoin collateral, and then the price of Bitcoin drops substantially, you will face probably a margin call on that, and they will contact you and ask you to either deposit some more Bitcoin as collateral or pay down a chunk of your loan, maybe transfer US dollars instead. So that's the kind of risk. Read through all of these different kind of information bits and pieces like this. There's information on when you can repay your loan, how you kind of register and stuff like that. As you can see here, they can be repaid at any time with no penalty. So the interest is charged daily, even though they quote it on a kind of monthly basis. So if the price spikes up massively and you just think, oh, that's worked out quite well, I want to kind of get out of that, you can basically repay that kind of loan at any time. And it can be repaid, I believe, using either US dollars or indeed with crypto, with Bitcoin. So that's kind of interesting. There's also some information here about countries that are restricted, and this is the same with all their kind of products. You've got Iran, Libya, North Korea, Syria, the US, unfortunately, Africa, and Uruguay. Now, I hopefully at some point in the US will be removed from that list, but if you are based in the US, you won't be able to take advantage of this particular service at this time. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. As always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. But I hope you're all staying safe and well. Hopefully I will see you on the next video, but until then, have a great day. Bye bye.